What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Last time, obviously, we got the hydraulic brakes pretty much sorted out. And, amongst many other things that we did, obviously had the engine running and, did some electrical, that kind of stuff. But so this time, it's just more of trying to get this thing done. I think some of the things I want to tackle today, I want to kind of work on the clutch line, see if I can figure that out. The shifter and the ebrake handle and the cables and all that stuff. Hopefully I can get that sorted out. If I get that far, maybe I'll do the coolant pipes, the throttle cable maybe, something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, let's just get to it. Okay, so one thing I did do off camera, but between the episodes, is I replaced the little arms for the hubs. You can kind of see that arm down in there. This one, the new unit is from Gildred Racing. Basically, it's gonna correct the bump steer problems that it had. It's a little bit longer and it comes down a little bit further, and the angle's slightly different. So it should change the steering geometry enough that it essentially should cause it to not drive crazy like it did. But yeah, it bolted on there. I also got some like steering arm, the rack extensions, but for whatever reason, it didn't seem like I needed them. So I don't know. We'll try give it an alignment at some point, and once we do that, then I'll know whether I actually need the extensions. I don't think I do at the moment because it seems like I had plenty of threads, but we'll find that out another day. The other thing that I did off camera, I did start putting some of the P-clamps back on the brakes. So I kind of wrapped up some of that. So I added, this and then that one over there. I also went through and you can kind of see this is the e-brake cable, which is kind of tucked up in here, but I actually bolted it down right there and then bolted this one down over here, so it's kind of set up where I want it to be. Yeah, just an update. But now I think the next thing I want to do is get the clutch line figured out. I did remove it from the master cylinder already, the original one, because it kind of went up over the dash through the firewall. Obviously we want it to go to the back now, and I'm going to work out how we're going to do that. All right, this is what I came up with for the clutch line. Basically, we got that soft line ran into here. We got a bulkhead connector, ran a new line all the way down here. Got some P-clamps along here, P-clamp to this side, up in through there to the master. I already bled it. It works, as you can see here. And yeah, I think we're done with that part. On to the next thing. Okay, so I started messing with trying to figure out where the shifter was going to be and all that kind of stuff. And when I mocked it up, basically I figured out the shifter is going to be somewhere in here like this, because it was way too far forward up there. The problem that I'm having right now is that because of these sidebars, the seats don't really fit. You can see these mounts that I have right here, I can fully put my hand under here because it's bound up over here. So, and I can't push the seat any further over, so I need to reconfigure how it's mounted to the floor. So basically what I've got going on, and mind you, most of this is going to be temporary because I'm going to put different seats in it at some point, but right now I just need something that works. And this is kind of what it had in here before. It had this guy on here, and it was bolted through. I think at the moment what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this seat slider right here, because there's zero chance that the seat is ever going to go back that far because it physically can't in this car. So I'm just going to chop this out, and instead of having it essentially over here the way they had it, I'm going to flip it and have it over here further, because it's about an inch or so is how far it needs to go over, and I think that'll get me just about the right amount. So I'm going to notch this out, and then I'm going to drill a new hole wherever I can find a place and see if I can make this work. Okay, I moved that mount over and it fits in there now. I can show you, you can still use this. It's not fully bolted in right now, it's just kind of chilling. But you can see it's actually flat on the floor rather than up on the angle. So that is going to work. I ended up just welding it to the slider because it really doesn't matter. And yeah, so I got that figured out. I kind of marked where the rear holes are going to be for the shifter. You can see those, so I'm going to drill those out and start working on that, and then I'm going to figure out how to block off that hole and then mount the front part of the shifter, and then the shifter can stay in. So get the seat back out and do that. All right, I got the shifters bolted down.
I'm gonna get some different washers because these are just kind of whatever I had laying around. But at the moment, it is tight. I put a piece of flat stock on the front side across here, and I welded some nuts to it, and then welded it to the floor. So that's all figured out. I do need to get some metal to fill in this hole here, but the metal I have here is like, I don't have anything that's quite right, so I need to go buy some. But at least the shifter's down, so now I can kind of start figuring out where the shifter cables need to go through, and then figure out, same thing with the ebrake cable and all that stuff. So at least I can figure that out, yeah. Okay, so I'm digging into the ebrake now that I've got this kind of sorted and figured out. I drilled a hole in this factory bracket. This is originally for the back of the ebrake. Now it's gonna be the front. So this is gonna be, you know, it's kind of mocked up where it needs to be. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do these cables. And so I built this plate here, and essentially it's gonna kind of sit somewhere back here, and it's gonna be angled forward a little bit. That way these cables can angle up towards the firewall. I thought about running them through here, but it's such thick metal, it's gonna be such a pain in the ass to put grommet on it. I think it makes more sense to run it through the firewall. Yeah, so at this point, like I have this, I could just weld it to the tunnel, but it's such dirty metal. I'm thinking about building a base plate and then bolting it on. I'm not sure yet though, I don't know, maybe we'll clean that up and weld it. We'll see. I just kind of thinking if I built a base plate, I could shift it around if it wasn't quite in the right spot, but yeah, I guess we'll figure it out. Okay, this is basically how it's gonna be. I did realize I've got to make another modification. I welded one reinforcement triangle on this side. I need to weld another one that's really, really tall because I tried to pull the e-brake and it actually pulled this whole plate down. I didn't think it was gonna have that much force on it, but apparently it's got more than I thought. So I gotta reinforce it up here because it was trying to bend the whole thing. So once I do that, I think we'll be okay. And then I can really put some force in it to get it to work. Because right now I can't get it quite tight enough to actually pull the brake calipers enough to actually get it to work. So yeah, once I do that, we'll be in good shape. But I think for tonight, I'm gonna call this quits and we'll hit it in the morning. Ta-da! Finished product. So I ended up adding another support like I was talking about here. It still flexes a little bit. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's like a very minor flex, but it's working. It's not flexing too much, and it's actually, yeah, I mean, it's holding the wheels kind of. I will say, like, so I've adjusted them as tight as I can possibly go. This one, like you can feel it's dragging, but it's not like locking it like it should. This one, on the other hand, locks it. Like it pulls it pretty fucking hard. Like I can actually pull the handle a little harder than that, but I think it'll hold it. It's not perfect. It's just, I don't know what's going on with that driver's side cable. For whatever reason, no matter how much I adjust it, it doesn't tighten it quite enough. I don't know if it's just the bracket on the caliper itself needs tweaked maybe to like pull it out. But I mean, if you look at it, like it's pulling it tight. Like I know it won't focus very well, but you can see there's like almost no cable that's hanging out of there. So it's pulling it pretty fucking tight. So I don't know. I had the same problem with my Exo set, honestly. It would do the exact same thing. Like even full tight, that one wouldn't even hold it on flat ground. This one 100% will. I think it'll even hold it on a hill. So yeah, good enough. Moving on. Also, I did want to show you shifter operation because I'm sure some of you are wondering, like, is the pattern backwards on the shifter? Like, I mean, it would make sense if you thought that, but honestly, it's because of both things are being reversed and not just one side's being reversed, it's still the same direction. So you can see, like, you know, we're getting all the gears or whatever. So reverse is still over and back. And you can tell that's obviously reverse. So it's still the same. The shift's really nice. So yeah, it's gonna work. Okay, so next thing we're gonna tackle is throttle cable. So I got this throttle cable. It was just like something on eBay for a go-kart. I can't remember how long it is. I want to say like, it was either 100 or 120 inches, something like that. I think 120. So basically what I did is I had a stock like EG, EK, something, some sort of Honda throttle cable. I cut it, cut the end of it off, essentially. Cut this piece off and pulled that apart, took the sleeve off. Basically, I took this end off of the cable. You basically just pull it really hard. I put it in a vise and just broke it off of there. Shoved the go-kart throttle cable into this, crimped it down, so this is actually on there correctly now. This is the end that was on the go-kart already, or for the go-kart cable. This was a little bit too big, so I just kind of took it to a grinder and just kind of grinded it down until it finally fit in the throttle body. And now, essentially, I've got this huge cable that is going to work. I just need to get it the right length. So this is the other end that came off of the factory throttle cable. So I drilled these ends out just slightly so that this would fit back in there. So you can see this one is going to fit on the end of that. I just need to cut the outer sleeve to the right length. That way, you know, it fits correctly, because otherwise it's either going to be too long, too short, whatever we need to do. So at this point, I need to put a throttle bracket on it. I found this one in a drawer. It's not quite right, so I think I'm going to have to cut it and modify it. So I'm going to kind of mock it up with this, and then I'm going to cut this, weld it so that it's right. Then we can get the throttle side of it all situated, and then I can kind of run it through the car, get it up by the throttle pedal, and then I can kind of judge how long it needs to be, and, you know, so I can put an end on it. First things first, let's mock some stuff up. All right, I made the bracket, got that all welded up, got that on there, and then I started running the cable. I was gonna run it underneath. It was too short. I was gonna try to run it through the interior. It's too short. Oh, fuck. So I need to buy something longer, I guess, to make this work. This really sucks. I thought I had it all figured out. I clearly do not. So at this point, because the throttle cable situation wasn't working, I decided to just move on. So now we're gonna work on the coolant pipes. So I ended up having to stop because I had to refill the jack with oil because this thing leaks like a motherfucker. But it definitely got me to 90 degrees, and it looks like, yeah, the tube looks to be okay. We're gonna pull it out of there. We're gonna test fit and see where we're at. It's entirely possible it might be a little bit too short on this end now, but I had already planned on probably having to weld this side anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that. I mostly just wanted to make sure I had a nice 90 on this side and then something to work with. Okay, this is kind of what I came up with for the pipes. This is the back of the car. This one is going to basically where the top radiator hose would go, and this one's obviously going to the thermostat housing. And then I made a bracket for here and for here, obviously to hold it up underneath. And then these ones go around the tank pretty good. Everything's all welded up. The only thing I really need to do is I need to weld some beads on the end, or at least just a little bit so the hoses don't slide off. But other than that, we're getting close. Look at that, guys. Looks pretty fucking professional if I do say so myself. Yeah, I think it's gonna work out pretty good. The only thing I wasn't a big fan of is I did have to run the battery cable over the top. Just kind of annoying. I guess I could run it around on the inside, but for the moment it works. It's not really in the way, but it's not my favorite. Yeah, all the hoses seem to reach. I did have a problem with this one on this back side, and I can kind of show you on the inside, but I ended up having to run an extension piece because I couldn't find a hose at the store that quite fit. Mostly because I ran out of tubing because I screwed up so many of them, and I could have made another bend, but yeah, it didn't happen. But it's gonna work, so yeah, I'm moving on. I want you guys to know that literally right after that video, I was like, you know what? That's really stupid. I should just run that over the top. So I ran it over top and put it back on there. Sometimes, you know, just talking to yourself, it helps. Sometimes it's, you know, means you're crazy, but sometimes it helps. All right, and then from this angle, you can kind of see what I was talking about. Basically, I had to put those two hoses together with a coupler. It works, certainly works. That one fit pretty good with that bend that I had in it. I can show you up front, just kind of see what I ended up with. This one isn't tightened down because I still need to pull the fuel tank back to do the throttle cable, but you can see those hoses run through there. Works pretty good. Yeah, hell yeah, guys. All right, well, the cooling system is all figured out at this point. All the hoses are on there. Yeah, that's a big accomplishment. Like I said, obviously I still can't completely put it together and fill it with coolant yet because I still need to pull the fuel cell back because that throttle cable, which is supposed to be here
this week. It's really cutting it close, guys. Yeah, I mean, we're still making progress. We'll see. This weekend, I'm gonna try and do, you know, like the exhaust system and stuff like that, and see if we can get it like to the point where I just need these few miscellaneous things, put it together, and hopefully it'll be done. But I don't know. It's really cutting it close. I will say, like, the coolant pipes going down the center, even though I haven't filled it with coolant, I did pressure check those before I put them in. I found like one tiny leak. I ended up having to re-weld. It was a good thing I did check those. So in theory, we should be leak free when I put it together. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty solid about that. So fingers crossed we don't have any problems with that, or any problems for that matter. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this one. So like, subscribe, do all the things. Peace out.